move, but I'm so trapped within me. Expanded all my limits too carelessly. I'm calling all the time just to get a look, 'cause nothing really makes sense no more. But I'm on hold, I need no bones anymore, 'cause the face in the mirror couldn't be any clearer right back from me. And how I'd like to say we'd be better off today or any day. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I don't know the words.
Hello, me, Mitchell James calling. I'm here with Lam from Vietnam.
Hi, everybody.
And are you ready to look at Austria?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So 1, 2, 3, here we go. Hey, cool. Nice song. I think that's one of my the favorite style. The how to say. I prefer upbeat. I like upbeat songs, but these kinds of song I really enjoy as well. This lady, is a very good voice, and I think the thing that stands out is she was very emotional. She can express emotion through her facial expressions as well as her voice. It's really feel. I can really feel. She really puts in her real emotion into the song. So yeah, quite nice song. So couldn't really understand some part of it, and also the background. Too many things happening in the background, so I couldn't interpret it into a clear message. But yeah, I think it's a quite good song. Austria, never lets me down.
Yeah, well, it was your favorite last year.
Yeah.
So you think that the backdrop was really different to this? I'm guessing you think it was very fast-paced backdrop and the music was very slow-paced?
Yeah, it changes and it different scenes doesn't seem they don't seem to be relevant.
Yeah, like you weren't a fan of how they had fireworks and then it was like really soft piano.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you have your attention to this song? Like,
Yeah.
it held your attention? You didn't get bored or anything?
Yeah, because I think the video, it wasn't clipped, like it was continuous.
It looked like a
I'm not talking about the background, but the filming of the lady, of the singer, it was continuous. So yeah, I paid a lot of attention into that. So I think she did very, very well transferring her emotion into the song.
Do you think that the way she performs really helps the song?
Yeah, I think it really takes the song to another level.
Okay.
Yeah, by listening to that, people can feel something, but by both listening and watching, it's a totally different thing. It's a totally different experience, and well, I believe, I can't wait to see it on the stage.
So it's going to be in an arena spectacular. How do you think this song will be in an arena?
Yeah, it could be a great, a light performance. If they can, use a lot of lighting and light effects. Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
You think it'll get really technical and create a moment?
Yeah, the moment is, I think it's going to be a good way to, it's going to be a good approach. I mean, there's lots of ways to approach this, but yeah, that could be a good one.
And so PÄNDA, you liked the way she performed. What did you think of her, the tone of her voice?
Yeah, quite nice. Easy to listen to. Gets into people's mind quite easily. A very sweet voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much, Lam. That was a really good review.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi, Elysse. So we're going to talk about Austria, PÄNDA, and I've just forgotten the name of the song. Do you know
Limits.
the
It's called Limits. Yeah, you can't push the limits with not knowing. That's not good enough.
I know.
Like she's only got so many limits, and she will not tolerate you forgetting the name of her song, Limits. If you forget again, you know, that's it. You're done. No more reviewing for Eurovision for you. You've hit the limit.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. That joke's getting old very quickly. Now, before I get too far in depth with the musical analysis, I am going to note that the Spotify released track was 3 minutes and 24 seconds. And from what you've told me, it's a 3-minute max time limit on stage. I think that's doable easily, but I just thought it was interesting that it's such a long studio version, whereas everything else is like right on or just around. I think the only other long one was 3 minutes 14. So this is a full 10 seconds longer than that one.
They must feel like they need that longer one for it to be...
Oh, I take it back. Slovenia was 3 minutes 18.
Hmm.
It's still the longest, but, you know, I don't think it was a problem. It was just significantly longer, because you're almost half a minute over. That means you're going to be cutting some things when you come to the live performance. So I thought that was an interesting thing to know. Sorry?
Where they would cut it?
Yeah, start and end. Start and end, definitely. Their intro... and their outro were quite long and ambient. So that's, I reckon, what would happen. Or maybe more the outro than the intro. I feel like the intro has got a really nice build. But we'll get to that. Oh, it's raining. Exciting. Sorry. So we have one language in this song, that is English, and we have a vocal range of A3 to G5 in A minor. I love the key of A minor, mostly because when you play it, there are no black notes. You know exactly what chords you're going to play. So this is going to be fun when it comes to me playing the chords. I shouldn't stuff them up, and if I do, you can tell me I'm a bad pianist. We have a 4/4 time signature, and the slowest BPM we've seen so far in Eurovision at 66 beats per minute, which is adagio. That's the least confident I've been with a musical term for a while, but that means slowly. It's somewhere between, it's much slower than a walking pace. It's a very slow speed. Slow song. If you were to go to 65 though, the term would be legato. And legato, I'd consider that to be slow and flowing, because it sort of just goes into each other. So like, like that sort of vibe. Does that make sense? I don't know if the mic picked up that. But I would consider that to be legato, that sort of slow flowing sort of vibe, whereas this one, it's slow but it's not quite technically legato. That said, it does have a quite nice flow to it, so you know, I guess terms for what the beats per minute are always subjective. We have 4 chords in this song. We have A minor as our first chord. We have C major as our second chord. Do we have C major? Yes. Sorry, I was just looking at which ones the minors are. And then we have F as our 6th chord. That's also a major chord. And we have G as our 7th chord, which is also a major chord. So once again, we have 3 major chords and 1 minor chord for our minor key, our minor tonality, because the melody is in a minor sort of vibe. We're doing a very minor sort of sounding song, very somber. And even though the chords are quite happy sounding, majority of them anyway,
because of the tonality of the melody, that's what puts us in the minor key. Because, you know, each minor key has a relative major. So for A minor, it would be C major. So you can always sort of play around with that. You're sort of listening to what the song sounds like when you're listening to it as a whole rather than what the chords are. Music Theory 101. I hope you guys learned something from this.
I'm learning stuff, so it's good.
You're welcome. I'm happy to share it. I got a degree for no reason, so I may as well use it, right? All right, so our instruments. We have our classic vocals, we have our drums, and we have our synth. That's it. And the synth is kind of like that ambient sound, our keyboardy sound, and we've got a couple of like high tinkery sounds as well that are coming in, which are a little, I don't know, it makes it sound very ethereal, very mystical. So I think it's a really nice balance of synth sort of sounds to make that work. Our structure, because we've got like such a slow beats per minute, we don't have many bars for everything. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes we've got lots of bars and everything. Because it's so slow, our bars are cut down quite a lot. So we have an intro of 5 bars, but that's a really long intro for something which has such little structure. The intro, I think, was about 20 seconds long in the studio recording, and it's quite free form. It builds, it's got that sort of like, sort of getting louder and growing sort of vibe with the synth. Before it goes into verse 1, which is 12 bars, and then our chorus, which is 8 bars, verse 2, which is 8 bars, so it's not quite a half chorus, but it's less than the first one. It's less by 4 bars, so it's 3/4, 2/3 of a chorus, I guess. I mean a verse. Then we got our second chorus for 8 bars, a bridge for 4, a chorus for 8, and an outro for 3, which is once again quite freeform, quite ambient, and quite ethereal. So it's a really simple song structure-wise, and it's all about the build of the synth and that sort of stuff. The high tinkery sort of sounds almost sound like they're out of a music box as well. I forgot to mention that. Like, you know, when you wind up the music box, like a little bit like that, but like an out of tune one.
Yeah. So what did you think of the music video?
Okay, so
blue hair.
Oh, well, that's my first note. My first note is just, I love the blue hair. I miss my blue hair. I don't mind the pinkish blonde thing I got going on at the moment. But I miss blue. Blue looked really nice on me, and so I was a little bit jealous of her blue hair. And yeah, it looks really good on her too, so good on her. And I did some Googling on her. Apparently she's always got blue hair, so that's exciting. Live your blue hair life for me. And it's a very artsy looking video. Very simple, just like the song. And I didn't mind it though. You know how like sometimes you get like digital art majors who kind of do projection videos? That sort of a project it sort of reminded me of. And it told, like, I think it told a pretty good story which matched the lyrics well. So I'm going to go into a bit of a lyrical analysis before I go on, because of course everything is subjective. I could be wrong. You might have a different opinion, and if you have a different opinion on what the song was about, please let me know. But from what I could gather, she's sort of talking about feeling like she's no longer able to keep going, in a sense. So she's putting on a smile, she's trying to hide her depressing feelings or whatever and keep it held in, and so she's walled out everyone. She doesn't want help because it's just too much, and she doesn't think she deserves love, was the sort of vibe I was getting. But that's a concept that she's arrived at by herself, which has sort of left her trapped in her own thoughts and spirals. And so I thought that the way that the music video related to this was that she's sort of looking back at the days where things were good, where things made sense, and when she was happy. And I thought it was kind of like a reflective projections in the background, while her singing was very much a raw, current emotional state. And it was a very, like, I thought it seemed very sincere in that sense, because it didn't cut. It was just her face the whole time. It was a one take sort of recording. You could see the emotion. She got the tear rolling down her cheek, and she looked vulnerable. So yeah, I kind of loved how she showed that emotion in the video. And lyrically, like, Mitch, you know the songs I write. And you know that they're not I write some depressing songs, not because I am depressed, but because it makes really interesting storylines, like the dystopias I come up with for these videos. So lyrically, it kind of reminds me of a song I've written called Disconnect, and I linked that to you the other day.
I love that song.
Because the first line in that song was kind of like an I talk, she speaks, a disconnect from mind and voice, staring out through the shell, moving through an empty day. And so for me, in this song anyway, the idea was that you've got this voice in your head which is telling you something which is not how you would normally feel, not how you'd normally associate. It's like you've got this split personality thing going on and you're sort of trapped within yourself. So this empty shell sort of thing. And so lyrically, that's sort of what I like the vibe I was going. I'm like, I can understand what you're saying. I empathize with you, how you're feeling. And I understand sort of where that's coming from, perhaps through the process of writing my own song. So yeah, that was cool. And then musically, like, I really liked it. It was very stripped back, which like really helped emphasize those raw feelings. It felt honest. It was really interesting to see how that translated into the video. And I'm keen to see how that translates into the staging, because you've said a lot of people just sort of stand there and sing and you think that's really boring. But I think that might be what this sort of song calls for. I think she might need to stand center. Perhaps you could have some dancers doing some really minimalistic movements around her. Like if you want to go fancier, you could get some cloths and they could be waving them. I don't know. Multiple people holding cloths.
Do you think maybe
I don't know how you
strip back without dancers, just her and lighting?
See, perhaps, but only if. What was the other video that did lighting and then the walls dropped?
And the walls dropped. Oh, Belgium. Wake up.
Yes, yeah. So if they do that, they don't stand a chance with doing only lighting, I don't think. Because not only is this a much more stripped back song, so I think it might struggle a little bit, even though it's a really raw message and it's a very strong message. Like, I think it's a really good song to have. I think it's got to be different, and I'm not sure how they're going to achieve that. So I'll be interested to see how that's going to translate. Man, I sound like a nerd now. I've transitioned from reviewing only the musical aspects. I'm like, no, I want to see how it's going to go next. You've converted me, Mitch.
We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, but like I like this. I think it might not, like, I don't know how well it will do, but I really want to support it. It feels like an underdog sort of song.
Yeah.
And because it's so raw and personal, I want it to do well. Yeah. I'm
here with Stuart from ESC Fan TV, Stuart Wilders, talking about Austria. And what do you think of PÄNDA?
The animal or the singer?
Yeah.
She's great. She co-wrote the song. She wrote the song, composed the song. She's a really good singer. She's 31 years old, and her styles are sort of electronic, hip hop, pop, and she has this habit of writing songs that are a bit thought provoking. And this is beautiful. This is really meaningful, dramatic, haunting, and it really builds. About a minute in, you start getting this beat hit you out of nowhere, and it draws you in. I'm not expecting much staging in Tel Aviv. I kind of expected to be stood in front of a blue screen or with some kind of graphic playing behind, a bit like the music video, and just belting out that song, which only she can do. She's got a really good vocal, very similar to Ellie Goulding in style. And yeah, it's one of my favorites.
So we had Austria do really well with the jury last year. Do you think that the jury will see the specialness in this song?
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so. Not just Austria, Netherlands as well. They're very similar. Greece, they've all got some really good, really well-written songs. And the lyrics are good too. The lyrics are particularly good in this song. So as a package, it works, and it certainly feels sort of jury friendly. But you know what? If it comes off well in Tel Aviv, on stage, on the TV screens, in the hall, that's part one done for me, and that's really how it needs to be performed. Does it work as a song? Does it work as a performance? I think she has the ability to pull this off. No one's talking about Austria doing anything. I think I saw they were 30th in the betting, so really low. But I wouldn't write it off. I wouldn't write it off.
Yeah. I usually pay no mind to the betting at this stage. So performance, do you think is going to be stripped back? Do you think we're going to have some lighting pyrotechnics like Belgium, Blanche?
No, I would think Michael Schulte in Germany last year. I would think it most of the lines. I see real minimalist staging. If you look at what they're doing in Melody Festival as well, they're really trying to scale back on some of the staging for the more ballady type songs. I see this being done here too. And so Michael Schulte did really well for Germany last year. The young lady from Lithuania, whose name escapes me, also did really well with
the when we're old.
Yeah, when we're old, yeah, for Lithuania. They did that with pretty much scaled back staging too, and they're the ones that look really raw and honest. And I really think that would work here.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. All right, well, thanks so much, Stuart, for that take, and thanks to all the jury members. And subscribe to see more videos from jury and myself. Until next time, bonsoir Europe. Bye.
Who will make the cut? Who will win our hearts? MJT.